Welcome back to Animal X. In Scotland, they have the Loch Ness Monster. In South Africa, it's the Nkanyamba, a legendary creature said to live somewhere beneath the Howick Falls. It's an apt setting for an otherworldly beast, as there's more to this place than meets the eye.
South Africa's eerie Howick Falls are the most photographed waterfalls in the country, but they also have a more grisly reputation for death and evil. Countless people have hurled themselves down the massive drop to their death. The allure of the falls for the desperate and lonely is notorious, but even more mysterious are the reports of a strange monster that lurks in the murky pool below, a creature known as Nkanyamba.
It was huge in size. It must have been maybe 7-8 meters long.
But the one I saw had beautiful big red eyes in the moonlight.
Animal X traveled to the South African province of KwaZulu-Natal in search of the Nkanyamba, the Howick Falls monster. 2 years ago, Bob Teeny and his friend Richard got more than they bargained for when they visited Howick Falls. The pair trod the familiar path to the bottom of the falls, a track that local tribespeople are too frightened to take for fear of encountering the giant snake monster. It was here that things took a turn for the extraordinary. First, they noticed bubbles rising to the surface of the water. Then, slowly, the huge head and neck of a strange creature began to emerge.
It's absolutely frightening when to see this thing. It just rose up out of the water. It was like a greyish colour, but it was absolutely frightening.
Bob Teeny managed to take a photograph of the monster before he and his colleague fled for their lives. Bob Teeny displays the photograph in his restaurant in Howick as indisputed proof that a monster lurks at the falls. The image shows the long neck of an animal not unlike a prehistoric plesiosaur.
We actually have the monster out of the water. We're not afraid to show it, nor are we afraid to say to the skeptics that we are 100% sure that this is a genuine photograph.
Bob Teeny offers the negative as proof of the photograph's authenticity, but he believes he has further evidence of the existence of the monster: 3 large eggs.
So here we have just a normal hen's egg, and this is one of the eggs which was actually taken from down at the bottom of the falls.
Experts have cast doubt on the assertion that these were laid by a falls monster.
In my opinion, I'd say definitely one of the crocodile egg for sure.
There are no crocodiles at Howick Falls, and Bob Teeny remains convinced that a giant prehistoric reptile lives in the deep caverns behind the cascading waters, hauling itself out of the water to lay its eggs, or perhaps foraging for food in the dense bushland in the dead of night. He's not the only one. Other local residents are convinced they've seen the monster.
It was midnight, full moon, beautiful, man. And with the spotlights on, shining onto the falls there, I saw this movement in the water and big red eyes coming up the river, and I wondered what the thing this thing is. Next thing, this thing broke water, and I just couldn't believe my eyes. It was actually made the water ripple. It was so great. This is a beautiful animal.
Brian Fowley has fashioned a miniature version of the creature he saw that night. Was it the monster the local people call Nkanyamba? A creature so feared that few will even venture to the bottom of the falls for risk of encountering it. Only witch doctors, who are believed to possess supernatural powers, are allowed to visit the home of the snake monster and risk the wrath of the Nkanyamba. But first, a special ceremony must take place. A bead from the witch doctor's headdress is thrown into the pool to appease the spirits of the ancestors that live in the monster.
Nkanyamba is a big, terrible snake that people are frightened, are scared to see it, because that snake is related with the ancestors.
The Zulu tribes people are deeply superstitious. The spirits of the dead take many shapes and forms. Evil spirits are blamed for a catalog of problems, and it is up to the traditional healers, or sangomas, to exorcise the evil spirits and drive out illness and bad fortune. The spirits that lurk in the Nkanyamba are respected as well as feared for their relationship with the ancestors. Anyone who visits the pool risks being dragged down to the depths by the Nkanyamba. According to folklore, a white goat must be sacrificed to the spirit of the mystical snake monster to spare the life of anyone unfortunate enough to see the Nkanyamba. Cows have also been sacrificed in the name of the snake monster. According to local folklore, a sighting is also guaranteed to bring rain. The legend of the giant snake goes back thousands of years, even before the Zulus arrived in the area 2 millennia ago. Deep in the Drakensberg Range, there is evidence of the giant snake's place in local mythology. Cave paintings by Bushmen who lived here thousands of years ago bear witness to battles with giant serpents and of sacrifices to the mystical snake. Tales of the monster weave a mythical web across the waterfalls of southern Africa. Flying snakes form an integral part of the folklore. The stories have been handed down through the generations and even across the cultures, from Bushmen to Zulus.
We see today, when we speak to Sangomas and other traditionalists, it's most probably a remnant or survival of these earlier beliefs, which have been depicted on rock paintings.
The giant snake is more than just a legend for some. Tuboy Mabenzi has lived in the area for 14 years. As a youngster, he ignored the warnings of his parents and visited the pool at the bottom of the falls. Tuboy claims that he saw a long-necked monster rising from the water. The creature had a head like a tortoise, a neck that stretched 5 meters long, and skin like a crocodile. Then it disappeared back into the mist. This is the image that is indelibly etched in his mind. The Nkanyamba has also been blamed for the death of several children near the waterfall.
Lots of people, young children, died there. But the young people will come back and report to their parents, we saw a big snake taking so and so. This is how this is to happen. But many children died. At this stage, no one swims there because they're all scared of that place.
Local witch doctors have long recognized the mystical nature of the area, but the falls have also held a powerful attraction for others. Suiciders.
Perhaps people in a heightened emotional state are more sensitive and more open to this atmosphere. Perhaps they're drawn to the falls, even lured over the lip, and perhaps this could account for the many suicides that have occurred at the Howick Falls since the beginning of the century and before.
Sean Hall has done extensive research on the mysterious Howick Falls. She's found evidence of huge eels lurking at the bottom.
They are said to be about 2 meters long, with quite a thick circumference, and bodies that have been washed over the falls, or people that have leapt over the falls, have surfaced a few days later with their extremities sort of removed, and this is most possibly being done by these eels.
Howick Falls isn't alone in possessing an almost supernatural aura. Victoria Falls in Zimbabwe holds its own special allure. The Great Lakes of Central Africa also have a mystical power that transfixes visitors. But is it just the hypnotic sound of the cascading water that draws people to the edge of Howick Falls? Or does the monster call them to jump? While the monster of Howick Falls is deeply ingrained in local folklore, those who claim to have seen the Nkanyamba say it's more than a myth. It's a very real and terrifying creature.
It's said there are stranger things in heaven and earth than we can think of.
Big crocodile like that can swallow a human being whole.
I reckon he'd have to be the best dog in the entire world.
You've just seen some of them. on Animal X.